Hello, welcome to Two Piano Tuesday.
Welcome back to our mini-series Backstage at Cliburn 2022. You can see the competition program back there behind me. And we are here for the penultimate episode featuring one of our favorite pianists of the 2022 edition, Russian pianist Anna Geniushene. She rightfully was awarded the silver medal for her extraordinary performances, and we loved getting to know her because she was one of the most insightful, eloquent, and authentic people that we had the honor to meet.
Absolutely, and we've spent the past week preparing for today's episode, and it's just, this is a love letter to Anna. I mean, her performances were so amazing. It was such a challenge to select only a few clips for today's episode. But I want to confess, I've been practicing the piano after watching her over and over again. I feel like I'm a better pianist just having spent the week with her. I think everyone watching today is going to get a lot out of this episode.
That's right. And also, as a woman, I felt so much pride watching her throughout the competition. We're going to talk about some of the unique challenges that she overcame at the competition, including competing while pregnant, which you can't say that for any of the other competitors. So that was heroic in and of itself. But first, we just want to say hello to all our viewers. Amazing to see people tuning in from all over the US and the world. We love gathering here with all of our fellow pianophiles. It really feels like a celebration.
Absolutely. Hello from Kentucky and Detroit. Somebody mentioning Anna will be in Minnesota later in the year. Her performance schedule is very busy. You can check up on her website. But we want to get on to today's program because there's just so much to share. Yeah, I'm going to mention before we start playing the video that we interviewed her last Friday, in addition to after each of the rounds at the competition. And so today's presentation will fold in some of the conversation from last Friday with the material from a year ago, but ultimately it's going to go in a fairly chronological progression of her journey through the competition. So with that, we will begin Anna Geniushene's video here. Here we go. So here's the preliminary round package we have to share with you. I love that this is how she chose to introduce herself in the competition. She has such a quiet, delicate performance of this Haydn sonata full of quirks and capricious playfulness. And she has an ability to organize music such that it just makes perfect sense to the listener so that it feels utterly organic. She's authentic Anna from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched your performances now like maybe 4 times from the Cliburn.
Oh my God, you are so brave, I have to say. I have never opened these links.
Oh,
Really?
I
After the competition, no.
We hate watching ourselves too, so we understand.
It's absolutely insane. I think, you know, I get completely, you know, nervous, and you know, it's just, you know, recalling from my memories, like, oh my God, that was like a moment of disaster for me. No, never again.
I'm going to stop just to add, none of her performances were disasters. The next clip, in fact, highlights Anna's ability to access a state of immersion or flow seemingly at will. It's incredible. It's as if she performs this entire etude in one breath.
Beautiful singing tone.
I'm going to be talking about flow a lot throughout today's episode because it's something as a musician that's so hard to attain. You need every possible skill set at your disposal. But when you reach that state of complete immersion, it's like that's the moment time stops and creativity blossoms. Listen to the way she ends this.
Gorgeous. Anna, don't worry, none of this is live, so
That's
you know,
true.
yeah.
All right. Just,
Yeah, we
if
just
there's anything
no,
that gets
don't
said
nothing.
that you don't want to talk about.
Yeah, we can edit it out.
No.
Yeah.
I'm fine, completely fine. You know, I just had a conversation with my husband, so full of very deep emotions. I mean, absolutely contrasting palette of emotions right now is just burning me out, actually. But you know, it was something special for me, I have to say. Of course, you know, due probably to lack of time for practicing, because you know it has been very difficult time. I mean, last few months for me was kind of difficult, and I'm glad that I have reached this point, even first round. So it's already, you know, a privilege for me to be there and to be invited for the first round and to finally make it.
Before preliminary round started, that was actually the most challenging time, because that at that moment we just moved to Vilnius, and it was like a few weeks before I had to travel to Texas, and I had no literally access to the real piano, so I just to practice on like digital keyboard, and that was actually all I had at that moment. And of course, we were quite uncertain about the fact whether we would allow to travel to Texas or not, because you know, the sky was already closed above Russia, and you know, it was like a huge challenge.
You mentioned some of the human challenges you've been going through.
The most challenging thing is that I'm right now separated from my first child, a baby boy who is waiting for me. So he couldn't travel with me, unfortunately. He's just 18 months.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so he's turning 18 months, like in 2 days. Yeah, that's true.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, we're expecting the second one baby to come in September already.
So you're pregnant right now.
I am. So we don't have like 30 competitors here. We have like 30 and a half.
I mean, as a new mom myself, I know how much energy it takes to grow a human, but to do that and perform to that level and to deal with the mental challenges, that's heroic. So I just have to tell you that, woman to woman, that's
Women power. Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm speechless. Do you feel like you perform differently in a way? Like, your perspective, has it shifted?
I have to say that maybe this this thought that is constantly with me. The thought of the pregnancy, of further delivery, of giving a birth to a child, gives me an extra, comfort on stage. Because I'm not sitting alone on stage and, having my own problems, and, struggling with the self and confidence on all this stuff. But I feel kind of inner, power and energy, which gives me an extra boost.
Can you imagine your little one made its debut on the stage?
So while we interviewed many of the competitors, Anna performed the commission work from an iPad. Unfortunately for her, her Bluetooth foot pedal didn't immediately connect with her iPad, and it resulted in a terrifying 4-minute delay. As you'll see here, even her 18-month-old son tried to help her out from the other side of the world.
Can you explain to the audience maybe what was going on there?
And what you were going through?
Actually, it was quite a nervous point, and I still cannot understand what exactly what was happening with an iPad, because it was written that the Bluetooth pedal is paired and is connected to an iPad, but I was trying to flip the page, but it didn't work. Complete disaster. I couldn't really believe what should I do? What would be the next step? The first mind was what jurors are thinking. Maybe I'm just losing time for my own relaxation or something like that.
It was so much help coming from Lucas during the competition. Of course, he was taking care of our elder son, Thomas. They were staying, they were cheering. Lucas told me that Thomas was trying to understand what is currently happening on the iPad. Mama, no. And he was actually trying to touch me, although, of course, it wasn't possible.
Well, if it's any consolation, it feels like an eternity when you're on stage, but it literally is only, a couple minutes. So it's okay. And you recovered so fantastically.
And at least this all happened before you started playing.
Yes, that's true. I think I was the lucky one.
We were the lucky one to hear you and to meet you. Brava. We hope to hear more from you. All the best. And to you, to your little one as well. Brava.
You should feel really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm serious.
No, we loved it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You
It was
have
something.
You have something to say.
Yeah.
Something very emotional.
Take a rest.
Yeah.
I love all the mentions of support and saying how children and the pregnancy kind of gave her an extra measure of just solace and energy and inspiration, because she certainly played from the very first round as an artist and not as a competitor, which I think just made her stand out in front of the jury and certainly in front of the audience. So despite that little snafu with the iPad and the pedal, which we totally relate to because tech issues are terrifying, and especially in a competition, which she just handled everything with such grace and, just focused right in.
Well, and after everything she had done just to get there in the first place, for that to happen right at the forefront of the competition, I can imagine that really phasing a person. And It's Anna. She can handle it.
She really
don't
can.
understand how.
Superwoman.
Well, and you're about to see Superwoman really at her peak form in this next bit about the quarterfinal round. And typically, I would show her performances and then the post-performance interview. But in this instance, we're going to show her post-performance interview first. She was unexpectedly one of the first quarterfinalists she was unexpectedly the first quarterfinalist to perform, and she hardly had any time to sleep or warm up before competing, all of course while 7 months pregnant. And for me, I find that learning what she was going through only makes her miraculous quarterfinal performance all the more impressive. I am going to find the video. 1 second.
Yeah, no one wants to go first, no matter what the round is. And especially the quarters, the first round and the quarters happen in the morning, the first session. So not ideal.
Nope. Well, here we go.
How are you feeling after that smashing performance?
Well, I have to say it was such a challenge because, I think we've been there in TCU, I think less than 11 hours ago. And it was such a stress for everyone. When they announced me, I just went on stage and I was trying to conceive, would that be the first one or maybe the second one? Because, I'm not an early bird. I'm like, I'm dreadful. In the mornings, I have to say. But then I realized that so I'll be the first one victim of the quarterfinal. So, but I didn't have any other choice.
Did you sleep?
Actually, no.
Oh my gosh.
I had 2 hours of sleep, but it was kind of very hectic time.
What you just went through, the 11-hour time lapse while being 6 months pregnant and missing your family, and you're here smiling with us.
Yeah, absolutely, because we just need to enjoy this moment, because otherwise there is no sense in that. Because that's.
I'm so impressed.
Well, you're a hero. Gosh.
Okay. This was fun, actually.
Last night both of us were talking and we were like, oh my God, whoever's going first. And then
Were you actually practicing, or were you just sitting there fretting, or lying in bed with your eyes wide open?
yeah.
I just realized, so I just need to go straight into bed and try to sleep, to get a sleep. So I took 3 melatonin pills, but it didn't help me at all. I think
Is your baby kicking at night?
yeah, actually that was quite
That would keep me
nervous
up.
moment.
I'd be like, why are you doing this at 3 in the morning?
Yes, exactly. Stop doing this. I just realized that, so if I don't have any other options, I just need to go and fight.
After all that no sleep business, I really think this is one of the greatest performances of the entire competition. She's so terrific at these giant Brahmsian builds, holding together lines. I really think somebody needs to book her for performances of the Brahms piano concertos. And I'm gonna include just a link to watch the fourth of the 4 blogs. I think it's an example of Anna.
I was actually a little bit frightened that I shall start my quarterfinal with such a delicate and intimate music, and it would be an early morning, so everyone would be sleeping. I would continue.
No, but it was a magical way to kind of welcome everyone into this next stage, because the intensity is only going to amp up in the competition.
these rhythms feel so organic.
Brought the fire to the Bartok. Is that a work that you have programmed a lot in your recitals?
Not actually, not so much. But I really like this music because it has this kind of authentic folk groove, and I really like it. So I just decided, okay, so now let's enjoy this process. Now it's time to set up an alarm, get back alive.
To see Liz and Anna discussing the baby kicking.
Stop doing this. Let's do it. Let's do it during Bartok. And I was like, da 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 da.
He was taking a nap.
Fabulous.
I
have to
say
say-
it was such a challenge because I think we've been there in TCU I think less than 11 hours ago, and it was such a stress for everyone.
What I was going to say is that program really showcased her strengths so well. I think it's sort of earthy music, Brahms, which has this heft and the gravitas, and then you take, the folkloric earthiness of the Bartok, which you brought out so excellently. She was totally in her element, even though she was lamenting going first and, being exhausted, but just musically, just perfect pairing.
Perfect pairing. And you heard her talk about how everyone was probably dealing with the same issues with these morning performances. Well, she was right. We have a brief vignette to show you of other competitors talking about their ordeal with performing in the mornings to share with you right now.
By saying that I'm not a morning person, and this is hell for me. I mean, waking up at 7 a.m. in the morning without jet lag and everything. I got on stage, I was exhausted. Around second half of the preludes, my vision started to be a little blurry, and it was really hard to keep going. It's hard for me standing up right now.
So for me, if I know that I play in the morning, then I have a very bad night. Yeah. Also, so I didn't really sleep well, and all I wanted to was just to sleep. But I guess that's exactly what competition is. It's not just playing the program; it's also being able to play anytime, any program, in any state, sleepy, cold, whatever.
You might play in Japan one day and Europe the next. That was so athletic. How are you alive?
Oh, well, I mean, I barely kept it together on stage, let's say that.
So you're playing on the morning of the quarterfinals. We found the result last night, so you didn't have much turnaround. How did you approach preparation for this morning? Were you able to get any sleep last night?
I figured after I played on the first round that I would have a 100% chance of playing on this day, if I made it in. We also saw that there was a chance that I would play in the morning, so we asked if we could stay at a host family nearby.
11 and a half hours between.
Yeah. I slept 7 hours, got up at 7 a.m. and then just got right to it. I cannot function without coffee, yeah, I drink that. Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Congratulations.
Yeah, so
have a
stellar.
rest.
Thank you. And
So unique.
We love your playing.
Here for, I don't know, 3 and 5 days.
No, you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
compare what we're doing to
No,
what you're
yeah,
doing.
thanks, but
This is easy. Yeah.
Well, it happens that you and I aren't morning people either, so
No,
that
we're
totally
not.
resonated with us.
If you're just tuning in, we have an episode devoted to Anna Geniushene, the silver medalist of the 2022 Cliburn competition. We have my cat Wallace here. A number of you have been commenting on his handsome looks. He's very chill. And we have guests coming from all over the world watching.
Wow.
Thank you all for joining us and for your comments from Chile, from Vancouver, from Hawaii, New Jersey. Thank you all.
Korea, yeah, we've got lots of people tuning in, fellow fans of the piano, of the Cliburn, and of Anna Geniushene, who is the star of today's episode.
That's right. We're going to move on to the semifinal round, which thankfully Anna had a few days to recover after that quarterfinal round, get some sleep. And during the semifinal round, she performed a Mozart concerto with the Fort Worth Symphony and a solo recital. And you'll hear all about those in this next vignette.
For you personally, what were highlights musically and even psychologically in the competition?
I really enjoyed being on stage during my Mozart concerto. We were already worn out and stressed out, but it wasn't an end. And we were at that wonderful golden moment when we just finally understood that, all right, so probably the hardest part is almost over. We are not alone anymore. We have like, I don't know, 50 plus people around us having some fun.
If you do make the next round, is there anything you're looking forward to in that round?
Well, actually, I'm looking forward to start practicing my Mozart cadenza. I had several ideas how to build up the good cadenza, but then I just realized that I would mix it with Geza Anders. I tried to put something which would be similar to the imaginative character of the first movement. Of course, yeah, it's written as Allegro maestoso, but we have certain parts when you just need to completely be out of this world. So I just decided why not to put something like very, very intimate and delicate.
She took this cadenza to such a magical, innocent, loving world.
We had quite an enjoyable moment on stage, I think, finally. Although, I mean, nobody could expect it because, you know, we actually didn't have a proper run-through session during our rehearsal. This was my first experience of playing cadenza on stage.
Wow.
Yeah, so, but, you know, it was quite fun.
Yeah,
It was brilliant.
and you played with such command and such joy. It just rose to the surface so clearly. It felt like glorified chamber music. Like it felt like
Yes,
you really
exactly,
enjoyed
exactly.
interacting with the orchestra.
That's the most important thing that I really adore in this particular concerto, when you're communicating intimately with the orchestra, especially the second movement. It's just absolutely blissful music.
My theory is that you are one of the most flexible performers. Watching you with the orchestra, you know, beats wouldn't always land where maybe you had intended, and you would just go with the flow and reorganize your interpretation on the fly. Is that a strategy you have?
That's kind of, my habit that I probably inherited from my, previous experience being on stage. Because
Isn't that a
actually, I
wonderful
got.
thing? Not,
Yeah.
it's
I
not
mean,
a bad thing.
I think it is kind of helpful thing just to keep in
Mhm.
mind while you're on stage that you must be flexible, especially during the occasion when you're playing with orchestra. You just need to follow ideas. They just need to catch it and let it go. You just need to be very adaptive to the circumstances in which you're encircled with.
That's like a way of being.
Mhm.
Yes, that's a way of being. Actually, maybe say that this is like stronger side rather than weaker.
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't
I mean,
know.
I was going to
Definitely.
say, spoken like a true woman and a true mom. It's like it's in our roles that we have to sort of adapt and be.
That's true.
you
That's
know,
true.
It's such a joy to see her authenticity directed at music of such love. There's just so much love in her playing, so much heart. Family's so lucky. And now, hear what Anna has to say about working with the maestro, Nicholas
It
McGee.
was a wonderful experience to have such an experienced person on board. Because, he, of course, is an expert in this field, in this particular field. Starting from the very first minute that I've encountered with him, I just realized, so this is person who definitely support you, who will definitely try to somehow arrange the circumstances which would be the most comfortable way to deliver your own ideas.
The Mozart Concerto was another circumstance where her maturity as an artist shone through because she was treating it like a performance. She was engaging with Maestro McGeegan and the orchestra. She treated it with such a collaborative spirit, and then she brought all this felicity and this ebullient spirit. She brought out the essence of the Mozart Concerto. And I think a lot of the other competitors perhaps were intimidated by the Mozart, and she actually seemed like her confidence grew.
Yeah,
remarkably.
she used it as and she talked about they didn't even get a full run through yet. Her artistry doesn't necessarily need that. She's able to be a complete artistic person on the fly.
That's right.
So much
Which is a sign of a true artist.
Exactly. We wanted to take a moment to go back and discuss the mornings because we got so many comments from y'all about the mornings.
Yeah, particularly on the YouTube chat. Because I know that there's a Facebook audience and a YouTube audience, but we know that there's a whole thing about mornings and nights.
Exactly. Somebody asked, do you think it would help future competitors to practice in the morning? Kind of like how a marathon runner might try and train at the start time. The problem is the competitors don't necessarily know when they're going to compete until the last second. And in Anna's case, she had 11 hours between finding out she was going to be the first to compete and actually having to do so. So it's hard to practice for that moment.
And in real life, right, in terms of what we're training for, performances, you rarely see morning concerts. And so it's a little bit unfair to, kind of have these morning sessions, but it is what it is, right? You have to be able to fit 30 competitors.
It is. I when we give a concert, it's hard to do much else in that same day. It's like
rehearse.
It's rehearse. You spend the whole day building up for it mentally and physically, and so that you're at the absolute peak performance abilities. And you're watching some of these performers not quite get that opportunity.
Yeah, it's challenging.
I
do know some morning people though at Juilliard. I remember some people actually preferred to practice in the morning. So I was like, that's fine, because you'll never see me in a practice room at 7 in the morning.
That's right. Me
Yeah.
neither. So continuing on, we have the semifinal round performance. The two of us are going to stay on for this and talk occasionally. We're just showing highlights, but I'm going to include a link to the entire recital because it's that fabulous. It's absolutely worth your time to watch the full hour-long performance. But we're going to watch highlights. We'll draw your attention to a few of the notable moments from this recital. Here we
And
go.
as Greg said, it was hard to pick highlights.
It was really hard. Beethoven bagatelles, which she plays as if she's making it up on the spot. So I think this was an unusual repertoire choice. In fact, every piece on this recital program was unusual. She performed this a work by Liszt that you don't hear too often, and Prokofiev's 8th Piano Sonata. I initially, when I saw the program, was skeptical, but she completely manages to convince you of her interpretation of everything she plays, including oddities like this.
And it's quite refreshing to hear not the same pieces, right? And so we give her a lot of credit for having creativity with repertoire. So convincing.
I know. Up next, we have a heartbreaking performance of the tragic love duet from the end of Aida.
If I'm not mistaken, we have like 2,000 seats here, and this is huge hall. And actually, I was a little bit scared. Is it enough sound I'm producing from the piano? Is it enough to hear the most intimate sections of music?
I think that you playing with such intimacy compelled the listeners to really lean in. You brought the humanity so much to the surface, and that's what really matters. And so we just wish for your recital that you just continue to do that, because it's your skill, that's your talent. So
as this builds and develops, listen to the huge dramatic arc that Anna pulls off. It's a huge climax. You see her beautiful soul and you see her in that state of like total immersion.
What does it mean to you to be on the stage and to be representing who you are as a musician for this audience?
Well, this is not my first competition that I'm entering, of course. And, I came to this state of mind that I'm not like competing or I'm not battling. We're not rivals. We're not actually competitors. We all are human beings. We all have our own emotions, our own thoughts, and our main aim is just to deliver it in a proper way. And that's the most important thing. I think that's something that I'm pursuing, and I'm really trying to achieve this decent state of self-confidence and decent state of vibrations that I can transmit to the audience.
I think what really makes us stronger is that we admit our ups and downs. We admit and accept that we all are human beings while we're on stage.
Brings tears to my eyes.
Played with so much humanity.
So this is the waltz section from the third movement of Prokofiev's 8th Piano Sonata. And it's another example of Anna just going to town, riding the musical flow.
She has a very incisive sense of rhythm, It's always in the pocket.
And such great ability to just play with many different textures at the same time. So you have complete clarity of what she wants you to hear. It feels like this big party scene. Realness. Go Queen Majesty Anna. Love this shot here at the climax. Go Cliburn video team. So I recommend you watch the whole performance of this because she continues this flow for another several minutes. Like as a listener, you can't quite breathe for like 2 more minutes after where we're cut here, unfortunately.
Riding the
Good
wave.
sleep. You deserve it.
I will definitely.
That baby's proud of you.
Oh yeah, they actually enjoyed it.
I think so.
Better than Bartok.
When they say Mozart for babies, he's going to be super smart.
Stop doing that.
Woohoo!
We're Anna fans. We definitely were throughout the competition. But
Definitely.
we looked at all of the way that she so fully inhabits the sensibility of each piece that she plays, to me signifies that she has a full life. that she invests in what it means to be a human being. And in our talk with her just a few days ago, it's clear that she's very philosophical. She's a very profound person, and that just emanates in all of her performances. And I love that it happens. It almost, watching her performances makes me forget that it's a competition.
It really does.
She doesn't look like a competitor. She's an artist.
Well, you never get the sense with her that she's imitating anyone, or trying to listen to what maybe a teacher had said, or if she's inspired by any particular performer. I just get the impression I'm getting full Anna all the time.
Yeah,
and I love that.
Awesome. I mean, we always preach authenticity, and I think she embodies that so beautifully.
Yeah. So we're going to continue with this final round, in which she played Beethoven's first piano concerto, and the Tchaikovsky first piano concerto. The beginning of the clip, you'll hear she's describing her first interaction when she met Maestra Maren Alsop,
who was also the chairperson of the jury.
Yes, absolutely. So here we go.
Still remember this fun conversation. That was actually our first conversation. I opened the door. I was a little bit nervous, and my hands were shaky. And then she said something like, "Oh, Anna, how are you doing? Tell me frankly, how are you feeling now? Are you feeling okay? Because I'm not feeling okay. It was a huge stress for me, huge challenge. Because can you imagine that she had been on her duties, like jury duties.
Sure,
of course, it is a huge commitment. And then all of a sudden, she had to to have a close contact with everyone who were selected for the grand final. She amazed me with this comment, because that was so sincere, so natural, so human,
authentic.
So I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I just realized, okay, so we're in the same boat. And we all are a little bit stressed. He was super supportive, because of course it really matters when you're on stage with a person who really wants to help you. It was magical. Yeah.
And this performance, once again, is magical. She almost plays Beethoven here, like the Haydn at the beginning, with like its quirks and idiosyncrasies, like relished, loved.
And so much confidence.
At this point, it's hard to be confident.
I know. I swear, she just crescendoed throughout the competition. Yeah, better and better. Repeatedly throughout this performance. Anna's husband is one of the world's greatest pianists. Anna is one of the world's greatest pianists. They have so many competition awards between the two of them, and I just think it's like this royal household of piano gods. Power couple.
Power
couple.
Yeah. Okay. Now that our audience is on the same page, let's continue with the question.
Yes. Okay. So this is a question from username Egg is Good. Do Anna and her husband, quote, supervise each other and give feedback? Are they their harshest critic to each other?
Yes. I have to say that probably the wisest ideas and comments about how to feel yourself comfortably on stage, how to lead your, let's say, promotion, how not to overburn yourself. These all wonderful comments have been made by Lucas. I adore his playing. This is not about competing with each other. It is like a wonderful moment to share your different opinions and find the balance between them. During the Cliburn competition, actually, I felt this, superpower coming from his side. He made a decision to visit me during the final rounds.
Wow.
He
Really?
traveled to Texas. Yeah, he traveled to Texas just to to cheer me up for Tchaikovsky concerto. At that time we had not met each other for I think a few weeks, like it's been 3 weeks.
Leon Balab asks, how is her vision of music? Does she see music under a spiritual understanding?
When it comes to life of being a concert pianist, of course, you feel that what you are doing is something incredible. It's a miracle what we decided to dedicate our lives to. This is kind of spiritual moment while you're on stage. This is a moment of divine truth and a sincere conversation with yourself. What is growing up from your fingers is something you're really giving a birth to.
That hug.
You could tell, clearly Marin Alsop has to be objective, but I could tell, from my audience vantage point, that she really had a strong affinity and respect for Anna. And I think that's for all the reasons that we mentioned: her humanity, her authenticity, her maturity, and her total joy in music making. So it was such a pleasure to watch them collaborate.
And this was the final performance of the entire competition. I had such chills. And Lucas, her husband, had flown all the way from Lithuania and was
So
there
beautiful.
after.
31-year-old competitor from Russia. Brilliant performance of the Tchaikovsky
There's the beloved Buddy
first
Bright.
piano concerto with the Fort Worth Symphony and Marin Alsop,
Buddy.
which brings to a close the performances in the final round of the 16th Van Cliburn International Piano Competition.
And some powerful symbolism there, because obviously that was Van Cliburn's. He performed the Tchaikovsky concerto at the Tchaikovsky competition in Moscow all those years ago, and then here we have a great Russian pianist performing Tchaikovsky at the Cliburn, and we were just so proud of her at that moment. You could tell that she played with. There was almost like a triumphant energy, and now it makes sense because we heard that her husband was there. So I think she got this extra boost right at the end from his presence.
It's really beautiful.
And from her baby.
So as we mentioned earlier, we interviewed her and asked a number of the questions from y'all. Thank you for sending those. A couple of them have already aired, and we're going to show the questions now that have to do with her activities since competing in the competition. So let's take a look.
So we are in the recording.
live.
Goodness. Am I looking okay?
Yeah, you look great. Your older son is how old?
Almost 2.5.
Okay, and then your baby is.
Almost 7 months.
Oh my gosh, those are really. My daughter is 20 months. So I'm right in the middle, but
In the middle,
I
yes.
have such fond memories of 7 months. So cute. And
Yes, although I wouldn't say that it is, completely enjoyable experience, because,
the
I mean,
touring too.
yeah, let's be honest.
Yeah,
It's
I
wonderful
know.
journey, but sometimes you just need to have
Yeah.
like a minute of silence or
Oh
whatever.
my God. I know, even just like to shower.
Currently we're trying to somehow survive. It is a great challenge to lead your own life as an artist, and of course dedicate yourself to children. And this is utterly different, completely different fields of dedication. And you just need to push yourself up to the limits in both areas. When it comes to piano playing, I think you won't doubt that you just need to have like a moment of silence or a moment of staying alone, because
Yeah.
you just need to concentrate on your own stuff.
Inez asks, awesome seeing her looking so beautiful as a new mom. My question is, how does she manage to practice and prepare for her tours? So clearly, I'm not the only one who is just in awe. From my perspective, it's really hard to practice the way I did before motherhood. And I remember I had to do like 15-minute sessions here or there because I just didn't have the time or the bandwidth. So how do you juggle it and
well, of
manage
course,
that?
it is really hard. It is really difficult. But I think the only one thing which I found useful for myself is just very, very strict scheduling. And no matter what is happening in your, let's say, living room, no matter how volume is high coming from this room, you just need to focus on your own time, and you just need to use this time in most efficient way, let's say. I think we got on tour together with him when he was literally 10 days. It was
Oh
our
my
first,
God.
actually, it happened on 13th of October, and he was born 2nd October, and we were traveling together with him. It was like insane. He was born a little bit later than I
Okay.
expected. I was with my phone texting Michael, I'm so sorry. I think it won't be possible for me to travel on 7th of October because today is 2nd of October, and it's getting really hot.
Yeah.
So may you just ask presenter whether it's possible to reschedule.
Oh my
Of course, it's hard sometimes to travel with Mark. It's getting harder and harder because he really needs like complete me.
Yeah.
Because he really wants my full attention. That's true.
Do you feel now that he's going to be a seasoned traveler, because it's like he's on his international flights and he's only a couple months old.
It was quite normal reality for us because we kind of got used to travel together when we had only one kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was there always, like around us, because of course we had like so much support coming from our family members, and of course everyone adored him, but actually we preferred to get him on board together with us, because actually, first of all, it is really fun. Second, it is challenging, although it is full of emotions, and you're kind of sharing wonderful moments together. You're not separated. You're not missing anyone. You're just feeling like at home, no matter in which place of the world are you now. And so it came naturally with Mark as well.
You're on Tuesday's
Yeah.
show.
I'm sorry, guys. We have like kind of interruption here because I
Yay!
have my son Thomas in here.
Hi, Thomas.
He's so glad to meet you.
Hi, you're
Probably
a
he
celebrity.
cannot comment. I think I just need to ask for help because it's kind of distracting.
No, it's okay.
When
Take your time.
I have to say that last 3 weeks were somewhat craziness for me because I had to
US.
learn, memorize, and prepare in quite decent way. Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Concerto, which I have never played in my life,
that's
never. I still remember this day. It was like 17th of March when I just played Greek Piano Concerto, and I realized, okay, so 15th of April, this date would be my first stage appearance with Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Concerto. I just need to somehow survive through this experience, and I made it. I don't know how. I mean, it was like crazy. I think I literally practiced for like 6 or 7 months. Sorry. Yeah, it would have been so
It would be
nice
nice.
Yeah.
to have like
Months.
More
but
reasonable.
I'm speaking about hours, unfortunately. This is one of the most famous concerto ever written for piano, and of course, probably
More pressure.
everyone
Yeah, exactly.
sitting
More
in the
nerve-wracking.
audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Everyone in the audience would definitely know what should you do in this bar or in this
Yeah.
section or whatever. It got me really, really nervous on this subject, but still, I managed it somehow.
We have one from Migran KV who asks, Dear Anna, have you had times when you practice very little for a long time? And if so, how did you get your inspiration back? And how did you get back in good pianistic shape?
I think it is more about maturity of your mindset. Sometimes you might spend like the entire day, and it would be, let's say, kind of routine for you just to work and work and work as hard as possible. But there won't be any satisfaction in this kind of mechanical work. There is no sense in judging yourself for skipping one day or 2 days out of practicing. Sometimes it might be much helpful for you just to stay in complete silence, or I don't know, just buy tickets and make your getaway. The main idea is not to be afraid about the fact that sometimes you don't have like a good day. I have to say that Lucas, he convinced me to take some badminton classes while I was working on Second Piano Concerto. It was super stressful for me because I really had so many arguing with him on this subject. I was like, no, never, I won't be doing this. And he's like, no, you should. You just need to to feel yourself like you're like human being. You're not like a robot, like pressing buttons. You just need to celebrate this life, because it's not all about pianistic. I mean, pianistic skills and maturing this pianistic skills. And you guys, what a wonderful experience to play on stage and to share the moments on stage. And I'm proud to say that we will be playing our evening recital in Darok Danteron Festival, which is coming up, falling, July.
It's a 2-piano
July
program?
30th. 2-piano program, all about Rachmaninoff. And
Oh my gosh.
we will be playing suite number 1.
We love
And I
that.
know this recording. You've done incredibly well. Yes, I know this very well. I was actually learning it from your recording. Thank you very much for giving me
Oh my
this.
goodness. Well, we are honored. And we wish we could fly to France to hear that performance. But, I wanted, as we were listening to that very recent interview, at the beginning of this live stream, Javier said he heard her play a great rock too. So Anna, if you are tuning
Pulled it
in,
off.
you really did. You did a fantastic job, and no one would have known that you had learned it in 3 weeks.
Wow. What I mean, thank you for bearing with us. We went a little bit late today, but there was just so much we wanted to share about this incredible woman.
Yes.
I am inspired just watching all this back.
She's a phenomenal artist, phenomenal human. Go check out her stuff and her dates. She's performing all over and deserves a beautiful career.
Absolutely.
And
Cheers to Anna.
Cheers. We are feeling already pretty verklempt, as they say, because we only have a single episode of this Cliburn, Backstage at Cliburn 2022 miniseries remaining. On May 9th, next Tuesday, we will be featuring the gold medalist, Yoon-chan Lim, and it is going to be a feast of music. It's going to be glorious.
Yes, it absolutely will. We look forward to seeing you all back, and we thank you for joining us for this week's 2 Piano Tuesday, the Backstage at Cliburn 22 series. We've had so much fun with you all, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you for tuning in.